For one, developing your emotional intelligence is a forever journey, right? So I have multiple moments along the way, multiple books, multiple processes and things that I've gone through, and I never stop. It's like a never-ending journey because every time you unfold one layer, you reveal another. Around 2017 was when I started diving heavily into yoga and personal development. At that time, I met a really good friend of mine and started practicing a particular format of yoga called Buddha yoga. And when I started, I actually didn't have an intention of teaching. I thought, wow, this is really good. It's good for me. It's good for my body. It's good for my own emotional state. Along the way, I realized that the emotional and physical freedom that I felt, I wanted every woman to feel that. At the same time, she was in the process of developing something called the break method, which essentially is like brain repatterning. So what it does is it allows us to identify certain patterns that we have in our lives. We all have them. Most of the time, it's something rooted in our youth. And it's usually, ironically, never the thing that we think it is. Like, so if you're in sort of like traditional therapy, which I'm a fan of that too, you have to do whatever you need to do. But oftentimes we think we identify the root cause of what we consider like trauma or the root cause of our patterns. It's almost never that. So you have to go many layers deeper, and you begin to realize that often we're recreating the same scenarios and the same patterns in our lives without even realizing it because it's on such a deep subconscious level. So not only did I study that, I also became a facilitator. And so over the course of several years, I've trained thousands of women, both in physical freedom, emotional freedom, brain repatterning, all of those things. And I'm a firm believer that the more you teach and the more you serve others, the more you serve yourself. So in the process of that, as I'm working with other women, I'm also continuously evolving and uncovering my own patterns. For example, what I mean by patterns, I think this is something almost everybody can relate to. You go through a period of your life where you're like, I feel like I keep dating the same person. The face changes, the body changes, the name changes, whatever. But at the core, there's like these things about this person, core characteristics that are exactly the same. And then if we sit and reflect, we'll realize, that relationship reminds me of my home, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my cousin. It's never isolated. And we carry these patterns throughout our lives. And so you'll find that if you're feeling a certain way in a relationship, you look at the job you have, you probably feel the same way in your job. If you look at your friendships, you probably feel the same way in your friendships because it's coming from a core belief about ourselves, about what love means, about how we relate to others. And so that's like the very, very beginning of me on this path towards emotional intelligence and really understanding human nature. And it's great because then you start to see people in the world in a very, very different way, and yourself for that matter. So you can start to have a lot of grace for yourself and a lot of grace, for others. I would say the second, many years later, would be my pastor, Darius Daniels. I started going to church, and prior to that, if you tried to talk to me about religion, I would have been like, absolutely not. He is something spectacularly different and speaks a lot about emotional, relational intelligence and really how we can begin to see ourselves differently in the world, how we heal, how healing begins with us. We can't expect things from others that we're not capable of delivering. I would say those are two of my really big inspirations.